In the theater of 64 squares, history is not just made, it is seized. Today, on Chessbox Worldwide, the entire KCB Open 2025 pivots on this single game. This is the brutal round 8 clash in Kenya, a high-voltage cross-country war between two East African titans. From Kenya, we have the former Nairobi champion and Meru Open victor, Ricky Sang, and from South Sudan, our reigning 2025 Mombasa Open champion, and the Olympian representative, the elite strategist, Majur Manyang. This isn't just a game, it's a positional slugfest, a battle for regional pride, and a duel to see whose king will be left defenseless as they fight for the top of the leaderboards. Welcome to the center of African chess. Get ready, the battle is about to begin. Please don't forget to subscribe, like and comment to support the channel. In the white pieces, the reigning Mombasa Open champion, Majur Manyang, opened the game with 1e4, and the Nairobi champion played c5, the Sicilian defense. Knight f3, d6, d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4. We see knight f6 hitting on the pawn, f3 defending the pawn, maintaining the room to go ahead and play c4, knight c6, after c4, queen b6, we see knight c2, after e6, he played knight c3, bishop e7, f4 by Peter, and Sang plays short castling, and in this position he played bishop e3, giving up the pawn on b2. In the case of queen takes b2, this one, after playing queen takes b2, it's the moment you are gonna see your grandmother. White would play knight f4, and I can tell you that the queen on b2 is trapped. Let's go back. After bishop e3, he played queen f5, bishop d3, Ricky Sang played bishop d7. But however, rook d8 should have been considered, putting the rook against the queen, bishop d2, and after queen b6, we could see d4, and this would be a playable game. For example, in case of knight takes b4, we could see knight takes b4, and after queen takes b4, knight d5. Now, the bishop is hitting on the queen, and also the knight is going to be taking the bishop on e7, and this will be purely winning. That's why after bishop d3, he played bishop d7, f3, a6, stopping and knight jumps, g4, intending to go ahead for a king hunt, g6, and he played g5, knight h5, and then he played the best move. He played bishop e2. f6 should have been considered, but Ricky Sang played knight g7, moving away from the bishop taking the knight. For example, f6, bishop takes h5, we see g takes f5, g takes f6, bishop f takes f6, and this would be a playable position to play. After bishop e2, he played knight g7, and Peter played h4. Taking back the queen on d8 should have been considered. For example, after queen d8, we could have seen queen d3, b5, hitting on the pawn, c takes b5, a takes b5, and after knight takes b5, we could see rook b8, and after knight takes d6, rook takes b2, and this would be a playable position. But however, after h4, Ricky Sang played rook d8, queen d2, f5 from Ricky, h5 from Manyang, g takes h5, and now we see b4, hitting the queen, queen c7. Peter went on and played queen f2, but however, pawn takes f5 should have been considered. For example, after pawn takes f5, we could see knight takes f5 and bishop takes h5. After queen c7, he played king f2. The most interesting continuation could begin with rook coming to f8, because now the king is here on f2. For example, after rook f8, we could have seen bishop takes h5, f takes e5, and after king g2, rook c8. After king f2, Ricky played bishop e8, trying to defend the pawn on h5, and Peter played pawn takes f5, trying to open the center, knight takes f5, h5, after d5, we could have seen bishop takes e8, d4, forking the two pieces, and after knight takes d4, knight takes d4. This would be a playable game. But however, after bishop takes h5, he played bishop g6, bishop takes g6, takes g6. Ladies and gentlemen, the reigning Mombasa champion, Manyang, played knight d5. No matter what you do, the game is lost. For example, in case you don't take the knight and play queen c8, then we could see knight b6, c7, then we could see queen c3, and now this would be a checkmate in a few. That's why after knight d5, Ricky tried pawn takes d5, and now we see queen takes d5 check. After king g7, he played rook h7 check, checking the king. King takes h7, he played another brilliant move. He played queen f7 check, and after knight g7, he played the last move, rook h1 checkmate. Thank you for watching, and I wish you the best of luck in your games.